a VPN. When I access my US banking,
Mm.
I like to do that from a US VPN, just so they don't figure out I don't fucking live there.
Yeah, makes sense.
Did we lose? Oh no, he's back. But for Lighter, I do need a VPN. Lighter's geo-blocked in all of Canada, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Lighter is funny, bro. Lighter is funny.
Dude, the guy is fucking funny. I mean, like
Yeah,
he's always like,
he's always like arguing and stuff, which is not the best look, honestly, for any builder in crypto.
True.
yeah,
So
like when he called Alex.hl out. Yeah.
Wait, you called him what?
He called him out in a tweet. He's like, everyone fighting, and like the guy just that starts with like AAA or whatever, and like he's like challenging them to a debate.
yeah, he even reached out to me and was like, "Yo, wanna join a discussion up to discuss the thought around lighter?" And I was like, "For what?" Like,
Do you use Lighter?
I've used it in like early days when it was easy to get some points there, but not in a long time now. And honestly, I get the pitch around Lida that the most people just like farm the points, it will dump the token and buy some other projects with it. But from the product perspective, we all know where this is gonna go, right? So they are now working with the zero fee model, and they will go down the road that Robinhood has been down, like making it cheap to trade but selling the order flow, which ends up being a worse product than what Hyperliquid is doing, because you will never compete with an with like transparent club. You just can't compete. You can't say, okay, we make it without fees, but by selling the order flow to market makers, your users always get the worst product down the road.
Yeah,
Uh,
the only thing I like Lighter for is not even the zero fees, but just that it gets some relevant listings faster. So for
yeah,
example, like if you see, useless is pumping or whatever, and like Hyperliquid doesn't have useless, but Lighter will have it. They're just a little faster with some of these newer listings. But otherwise, I don't know how it goes. I mean, some I think it's like you said, like, the airdrop will happen. I'm sure they're gonna retain some users, of course. But they won't even move back to Hyperloop. They'll just move to the next farm,
yeah,
right? Like the
it's
volume will
always
just there's so many now too, like in all my group chats. Like I can't fucking keep up. It's like, oh, Paradex, this, that. And it's like, dude, none of you guys trade perps. Like
yeah.
it's not worth your time. Like
I
it's
think
what are you trading it for?
there's this weird idea that Hyperliquid will just happen again with any of these other exchanges, and it won't. So people spend a lot of effort like farming those points, and the only way to like really get a good ROI on there is by being in the first or second week and making a lot of points there. But once everybody is talking about this and about like farming points, like, sorry that I have to break it to you, but there are funds out there on lighter with 20 to 50 million dollars that are farming it, and people still think they're gonna compete with their like 10K account or something. So I'm not sure it's a
Yeah,
good way to spend your time farming those points.
No,
I
it's not
agree.
because especially because it's mostly people that don't even perp trade. So it's like they have even of a less of a chance to come out like plus EV, right?
Yo,
Like
you're nice that we got Chicago's finest in the chat. He like did one. He also was taking part in the hackathon, and
Oh, for real. Cool, cool.
they built like a basically what we've had with pooled lottery, like where you bet and everybody wins. Like like you throw money into the pot and either you get your money back or you win. Like I'm not sure how they did it, but they did some cool stuff about there around that, and yeah, so cool to have him here.
Cool. Yeah, nice to have you, man. If you want to go and see my personal stream before I get liquidated, you can see me. You can see me cooking on a stream called Grinding Higher when we're actually nuking lower. But it is what it is. Yeah, but back to the points conversation. I feel like there's this, weird obsession. Well, not necessarily weird. I understand where it comes from logically. It's because of the way the success of Hyperliquid's airdrop that, everybody seems to be obsessed with points now. But I think the main issue is there's a lack of understanding that, when these type of events come, they usually come because of asymmetrical knowledge, right? And that's how everybody printed off the Hyperliquid airdrop, because you got people, who were there very early, and also a lot of people were, not really expecting anything like that, and there probably won't be an airdrop as big as that anytime ever in the future. So now that knowledge is not asymmetrical, you got everybody and their fucking grandma farming the next perp stacks. There are no pockets of opportunity anymore, right? They've been taken over by much more efficient knowledge and people with a lot more capital. So when I see people talking about these, farming strategies with like $5,000, I mean, you're kind of pissing into the wind.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I use 5,000 on lighter. Not even. I put in 4,000. I lost most of it, but I mean, I have almost 200 points, and let's say the points are 100 a point. Like that's still
How early
20K.
were you?
But like I didn't think I was that early. I think it was like somewhere in the summer. Like I was in Warren Muppet's Telegram group, and then he just posted it there, and I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? But it's like showing up now with like what I did with 4,000 or whatever. You're if you lose that 4,000, I doubt you're making it back from the points. Like it's just you have to be early or you have to be late and actually good. Otherwise, your ROI might not even be break even.
Yeah, like it's always the people that will make out of those airdrops are actually capable and good traders. Like on lighter, to get the most points, you have to have a good Sharpe ratio, and you only achieve this by actually being a good trader, which most people aren't. So I think it's not worth to put in the time now in like those late farms. If you can find other projects where you are maybe earlier, it could be a good idea. But honestly, like I think for the average user, it's really tough for those airdrop farms. Like to actually make it in crypto, I think the path that works for most people is actually getting into building something useful. So, and this is hard, right? So
Well, it's whatever you have asymmetric
yeah,
information on is that's always the thing. Everything else is kind of like you're participating with limited knowledge.
yeah.
That's why most people just get raped because there's no asymmetric information is hard to come across. Most people just manufacture that through like dumping on people.
Well, it's interesting you say that the way to make it is through like building something, because the way to make it in previous years was actually to hold, let's say, try and be early to innovative products, innovative assets, and really just hold them. Like you used to be able to hold shit for more than 2 hours, right? You used to be able to hold stuff for 1 to 2 years, actually.
I
That's long
mean,
gone.
I would say like you still can do that. You still can like write a portfolio from maybe high 5 figures to 7 figures. You still can do that, but it's way more difficult, and you actually like if you put money into DeFi projects and stuff like that, it could work out. But yeah, as you mentioned, like people are not really capable of holding anything for maybe longer than a week, and it takes a lot of patience. And now at the point where we are right now in the cycle, it's now already a bit late to like start to buy some DeFi projects and stuff.
Oh my god.
What's happening?
What the fuck was
Fire
that?
alarm. Fire alarm.
Oh,
They're doing
shit.
fire alarm tests. Sorry, this should be fine.
So
Okay, hold on. I'll be right back.
the 4 people
All right.
watching, is it just us or like actually people watching this?
What do you mean?
Like on the stream, like it says like 5 viewers and 6 people in the chat. Is it actually real people or it's just us?
No, the 6 people will be probably one sec. Akuma thought I was Korean. Bro,
Of course, we
thought he,
can do a Korean live stream.
that's so funny. I thought he knew that I was from England. But no, I don't know actually. I think the 6 would be just everybody that has a connected wallet.
Yeah, okay. So
So
all right, makes
yeah.
sense.
So actually, I'm not sure. Maybe Cyberstein can clarify, but would
It doesn't really matter. I mean,
no, but
it's the first.
I'm just curious. If you join the stream and you don't connect your wallet, does that show as a viewer? For Chunky's fire alarm test. Oh, thank you for the 100 flip. Suitman's killing it today with the tips. Anyway, Suitman's the new intern at FlipGo, and he set the stream up. So thanks for doing that, Suitman.
Yeah, looks really good.
David said, I can't hear me. You can't hear yourself? Anyway, this is our first podcast. It's a test. We're just fucking around, just testing the platform, and we'll be doing more podcasts like this where we basically talk to people in the Hyperliquid ecosystem. They'll probably be a little bit more structured than this, and yeah, we'll talk to some of the best and most interesting people in the Hyperliquid ecosystem: builders, traders, content creators. And we'll be throwing it up on FLIPtv, which is a new Twitter handle, and we'll also post the full versions on YouTube. Yo, you good, Chunky? All
Yep.
right.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yo, welcome back.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you.
Me?
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Hello.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. I had to make sure there wasn't a real fire.
So, Chunk, in your experience, like, what would you say is the best way to make it still like this cycle and maybe down the road, like next cycle?
I think finding good projects early and that dream is still alive. The issue becomes your exit. that's really like I'm still able to find like good stuff, but my problem is the exits because like it's just you think it'll go higher, but like it just won't because people like the attention will leave, people will rotate out. So being early is always the way to make it. But unlike, you know, previous cycles, you really can't like hold that long or, you know, you need real conviction to hold because it's just the attention leaves and it just might not come back. That or honestly, like look at Ethereum. It pulled what, a 4x off the lows? Like you could have bought Ethereum at the lows or like Hyperliquid, for example, right? You could have bought that at $10, made a 6x, right? Instead of like playing the trenches with, you know, you could have like full ported into the one play and then just like made a 6x. And that's probably better than what you can do in the trenches. Like sure you might hit, you know, 10, 20 X's, but like your, you know, your win rate is probably not 100% there. Right? Maybe it's not even 50%.
Yeah, I never got the appeal of being in the trenches. Like it's
It, I mean,
just way too stressful for below average performance.
it can, yeah, it can work out if you find something good, you have the capital and you ride it. Like that's great, but the problem is the riding it part. Like outside of like majors, like these on-chain stuff, it just doesn't. They just fucking like they just
Bro.
sorry.
Jeez.
Is that loud for you guys?
Yeah.
No.
No, it's not terrible.
Fuck me.
Sorry.
It's all good.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy. I mean, I did have a ton of unrealized profits by doing just that, like finding something good, sizing in and holding. But
But like I figure if you did the same but just not in like memes, you would
I don't
like
trade memes. I don't really touch memes. I touched like the Binance memes, like one of them.
but what do you mean by saying you're trading on chain? Like
Like
what are you
on-chain projects. Like I trade on-chain. Like I don't trade majors or like
uh
alts. Like I'll trade stuff on like Solana base primarily. So like ERC20
Mhm.
tokens essentially is what I trade, and not necessarily like I look for utility primarily, and
Okay,
like
so
maybe some memes.
they are at this stage where they're like an early project, not yet listed on any exchange, and you just buy them and basically trade them, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, that's I get that. I thought you've been like in the trenches with different memes, which I expect to be super stressful and really like burning you out.
Honestly, no, but even the utility is stressful and burning me out. I mean, like look at Base, which was like the home for like a lot of utility projects. Just fucking, it's murdered across the board. The best thing you've had. Sorry. The best thing you've had is like Zora, and that's just because it got the Robinhood listing. Otherwise, like you're fucked. Everything else was fucked. Like
Yeah.
it's no better than the Solana trenches. It really isn't. It's that
Yeah, and
bad
to
right
be
now
honest,
for
I'm not.
everywhere. It's
I
it's
don't
it's
think
literally like the
this.
Solana trenches.
Yeah, I don't think this gets enough recognition. But when the term trench came about, when people started saying that they were in the trenches, what it used to mean was like that you actually were doing research and you were looking for mostly like tech-based projects, right? And it also kind of meant that you kind of knew what you were doing to some extent on chain, DeFi related stuff. And now it just means going after the lowest rate, kind of like attention grabbing, small cabal type meme coin plays. It became pretty, yeah, it became pretty fucking nihilistic, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
like
it's the sentiment is terrible everywhere. Like it's just it's gotten to the point where holding is not rewarded. You're not rewarded for holding anything anywhere anymore, unless it's like a major, right? Rarely are you rewarded.
I would say there's still good ways to put money and where you will get rewarded, but also people are just impatient because they see those run-ups on smaller stuff and expect like their buys to 10x in a week. But you still got interesting opportunities in different places and different like projects, but it just takes a lot of time. And usually I see it on Twitter if I tweet something about DeFi or like numbers and compare numbers. People don't care. Like it should be the case that you use those numbers to come to a conclusion if a project is undervalued or not, but people don't. People just want to like uh, throw 10k on a random meme coin and hope it 10x's in a week or in a day better, right? So yeah.
Well, that
Yeah, and
it's because the attention cycles are so quick that like you get burned if you don't trade like that. Like all the fundamentals do, it's invite attention. Because
Mm.
without that attention, the fundamentals don't matter. So the fundamentals, all they can do is invite attention, and that attention can last a while, or usually it just doesn't last that long, and then that's it. The attention leaves. Like the flows.
oh man,
Sorry, I'm trying to mute myself like every time it.
yeah, you're doing a good job.
It's like scaring the shit out of me.
It is what is it like? Is it your building? Is it you in like an apartment block?
Yeah. It's just the fire alarm testing.
Damn.
Well, it works.
It works, but like it scares my fucking cat away. Like she's
Yeah.
probably under the bed hiding them right now.
So maybe DeFi Summer, maybe you can tell a bit about your experience building on Hyperliquid the last few months. How has it been for you?
Yeah, it's kind of goes back to the conversation we were just having about, the sentiment and nihilism and the type of trajectory that the space as a whole is going. I've actually been pretty disillusioned with this space for the past year and a half. I've been quite intimately attached to, crypto and its developments from quite an early stage. I've fallen in love with crypto and what it represents ideologically, politically, from an economic theory standpoint. All of those things, kind of like dedicated my life to it. So I think over the course of 2024, 2025, I think with the success of Solana and Pump Fund, and I think the demographics changed, the mentality changed substantially, and it really kind of became a place that towards the beginning of this year, I was just kind of considering whether I wanted to spend, all of the hours of my day, like in this space, right? So prior to Flip, and still, I managed a liquid token fund, and so I spend my days looking for opportunities, early stage opportunities, and yeah, I was just kind of disillusioned with what was out there. I felt like there's very few like investable assets. And when I say investable, I mean stuff that you can actually hold and potentially realize gains in 1 to 2 years, or maybe even further. It's almost impossible, right? The on-chain dynamics became very much malicious. It's like if you're not in the cabal, you get raped by the cabal. So I know Tobias, I've known you for a long time. You told me about Hyperliquid quite early, and I faded it, unfortunately. And then I came a bit later, and then when I was dabbling with Hyper-EVM, I decided to deploy Flip, and then we started building. And what really surprised me was that the the underlying, let's say, the ideological underpinnings of crypto, what crypto resembles, is kind of like still there in Hyperliquid. It's a very cohesive community. It's a community of believers. It's not a community of nihilists. And so, yeah, I was very, very pleasantly surprised, and that's why I continued building this, and that's why I don't really see myself kind of like building elsewhere. It's kind of like asylum for many people, right? I think a lot of people realize that out there's not. Yeah, it's a community of believers. Thank you, Flipman. And so actually, yeah, I've had a great time building relationships, building community, and obviously building this cool ass platform that Cyberstein has built pretty much by himself. Yeah, it's been sick.
Yeah, that's nice. Like also in Singapore, like meeting all those builders, you saw the fire in the eyes of the builders, and everybody's excited to actually do something cool.
I
And
agree. Yeah.
I have not seen this in a long time.
Yeah, I think
Especially in
so.
crypto. Like usually if you go to crypto events, it's like, yeah, we're gonna do this fork or this DEX, whatever on this chain, and maybe TGE. And so basically the playbook is always the same, like young people looking to make it or make as much money as possible as fast as possible, which also is in a way incentivized by the chains they're building on. So yeah, you have a lot of not that great founders or projects, which yeah just leads to an overall bad experience for everybody. So yeah, it was really nice to see a different flavor in that regard on Hyperliquid.
Yeah, it was great to meet actually a lot of the guys that I met through Hyperliquid online.
Mhm.
Rick Speed from Ball Brothers, shout out to him. And Nat from Drip Trade. Had a great time hanging out with those guys. And to be honest, I think everybody there at Token knew that Hyperliquid was the main event. Like it was pretty much the only thing anybody really cared about in terms of events and just community. So there's I think that cohesive community is kind of like what makes Hyperliquid very special. It's like this it's just this common understanding really about the long-term goals of the project. And yeah, everyone kind of gets it.
Yeah, it is. I think it's a great point in time where we are right now with everything, with Hyperliquid, with the projects coming up, with basically every other chain looking at what Hyperliquid is doing and trying to do theirs, like spill on it with either buybacks or like token incentives. Other founders trying to come up with basically everybody tries to understand why Hyperliquid works, and I think it's really really hard to like use this playbook because it is so different in so many ways that no other project can. I mean, they can try, of course, but I think it's really hard to compete with this playbook. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I think I've never
true.
been so, I've never been so bullish and bearish at the same time. Like I'm bullish for the space as a whole when I look at like, the direction it's going in, but at the same time, I'm so fucking bearish on just the way everything trades and the price action, like the participants. Like it's just really weird because I wake up in the morning or I'll see something, I'm like, okay, like I'm bullish. And then like I actually come to the space and it's just like a shit show. Like it's just
I think you have to like differentiate between being bullish on the space and being bullish on prices of tokens.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, like that's what I mean. Because it's like long term, it feels like yeah, like everything's great, but like it's just the the way everything trades now. It's like a hot ball of money just moving around, and like that's it. Like if
yeah,
you're not in that hot ball, like you're not making money. You're probably losing money. You're bleeding. No one's gonna like. Let's say you're holding something good. No one cares, right? They're gonna dump that just to go chase the hot ball of money, and then you have to hope like it comes back around to you at some point. So it's been a pretty like bad time investing in new projects. I'd say like it's not easy just because the liquidity and the attention is just so fragmented that for most people, I mean, I genuinely think like holding majors is like the way to go. Like it's that's the least stressful way to go. Like if I had like all my net worth in Bitcoin and I saw Bitcoin dumping what 3% today, I wouldn't care. Like
mm,
who gives a shit? Like oh, it went from 120 to 110, big deal. But everything else, just the beta on that is just so high that it's a tough time because like you were saying earlier, like you go on the timeline and you see everybody doing these massive wins, and then you just feel like you're not winning because like people just hit like a huge trade or something, but like that's just not the reality of the space, and I think
yeah.
that's why people get so disillusioned at times.
I think the best way or the best thing you can do for your trading experience is to like not look at Twitter what other people are doing. Um,
It's not
so
just Twitter. I mean, I try to avoid Telegram sometimes too nowadays.
yeah,
Like it's just
yeah,
like people's like emotional framing does get to you. Like I realized that like when if in the morning, like let's say the market's not too good and I open up Twitter, like my day already feels bad because I'm like,
yeah.
oh fuck me. Like, people are like tweeting, like, whatever. And then it's like like my day is already ruined. Uh,
Yeah, no, it's pretty rough.
because it's
Yeah,
the
an
roughest
understatement.
part is obviously there's never a guarantee, but especially in these market conditions, like there really is no guarantee that like let's say you have something good, fundamentally it's great. There's no guarantee that like that's going to move up in price. Um, I mean, obviously that's always the case, but I feel like it's a lot worse now. Like you can't necessarily say, hey, like this is great fundamentally, I'm going to sit in it. Like you can sit in it, it'll just die. Like the money will just never come back. So it's like,
Yeah,
previous cycles, like you could, maybe like, you could just hold a position, right? Like you just hold a position and then just fucking come back like in a month or two or three or whatever. But like nowadays, like you have to be really careful. Most of these you cannot hold a position and come back in a month. Like you're going to come back to it to zero. Um,
yeah, and
right? Just
also
the dilution is
malicious.
just insane. Like you remember virtuals, right? You remember the crazy virtual season. Most of those projects have not recovered, right?
Mm,
Like, like there are some great projects there, like that are fundamentally solid, and they've just never recovered, right? So, as an investor, you think, well, no, this is fundamentally solid. I'll sit in it. And it's like, cool, you're sitting in it, but what about your opportunity cost, right? Like you sat in it, you're just losing your capital, and like everything else is just running around you, like all these other sectors and blah blah blah. It's like it there's no guarantees except for majors. Like that's the only one. Like I could say, like fuck it. Like if I put all my money in Bitcoin. Like I know if I come back in like 2, 3, 4, 5 years, it's going to be higher.
Mm.
A lot of other stuff you don't know, right? Something on chain, you have no idea if it's going to be higher in 2, 3. It might just be dead, right? Because we just see things die. There's very few things that like you can actually just ignore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the most of the tokens, that trade at, 10, 100 mil market caps temporarily will be trading at zero eventually. It's also kind of it's become like accepted, right? The tokens get bid up and then they get extracted and go eventually to zero. And the type of behaviors built around that type of price action is also normalized, right? So, if a token gets rugged, like entirely rugged, and goes actually to zero, through either some type of intricate or sophisticated like bundle, or if like they actually just one clip the whole supply, what happens is the investors that get burned or the traders that get burned, they literally just move on to the next one. There are never any repercussions, and the type of this type of activity is normalized by the founders of blockchains, the founders of the biggest protocols in the space. So it's not as if there's any really great incentive to act any differently. And the protocols themselves kind of incentivize malicious behavior as well. Yeah, they do.
The entire game is essentially like get in before momentum and then get out on momentum, because like that momentum might not last more than, hell, it could even just be 5 minutes. Like if it's on Solana, like momentum can be measured in minutes, which is just insane. It just makes for a terrible holding experience because it's like let's say you bought something good, you can miss the entire move in an hour. Like, and it's not an exaggeration. Like the entire move can be done in an hour. Like someone tweets out about it, or someone retweets it, and then like pumps and it dumps, and it never comes back. Uh, and that's just commonplace everywhere. On base, it used to be better, but like now it's honestly it's not that much better there. Because I used to trade on base and not Solana, because I'm like, well, fuck it, like base you can at least hold, but even that's become not the case. Like base starting kind of late Q3, it just turned into, all right, we think this project is going to get listed on Coinbase, so we're going to buy it. And then when it gets listed on Coinbase, we're getting the fuck out. And then the project just goes to zero. And it's like, well, there's no, where's the value investing? There's no, what are you holding? Like, what are you, everything is just an attention trade.
Yeah,
Which is really, which makes it really disheartening. You
it
have
is,
very
and
few things like
it's
hype
also very
is definitely like unique, right? Like the market decided, hey, this is a major now. Like big capital is gonna flow into it. It's a lot more stable. Okay, cool, that's great. 99.99999% will never be like hype, right? Or even like pump. I think pump is actually pretty solid too for something that's on chain. Like I think pump is the pump token itself is pretty damn solid. But most things just do not pan out like that.
I've got a question for you, Tobias. So in the past, there have been a few attempts at creating either a pure like on-chain order book DEX or like a hybrid system. DYDX was, I guess, the closest thing to succeeding prior to Hyperliquid. There were other iterations such as Injective, which was a pure order book DEX. And I think the main issue with these projects was bootstrapping liquidity. And the projects that kind of succeeded maybe a little bit more were kind of hybrid systems, or ones that onboarded like synthetic tokens. Like, GMX was like a hybrid system. where you could actually deposit into a liquidity pool, made it easier from like a DeFi perspective, but actually bootstrapping liquidity for true order books has been difficult. So I don't know what you think about Hyperliquid's strategy and how they became successful at doing that from the beginning. Maybe you could give your opinion on that.
I think it's pretty obvious if you look at their background, right? So Hyperliquid has a really strong background in HFT market making. So they knew what market makers need and knew how to attract the market makers. And still to this day, Hyperliquid is like market makers love Hyperliquid because they get like really pristine flows to work with. And to make it easy for them to make markets. And that's one thing which was a flywheel in itself, right? So at first, Hyperliquid was a bit like the user experience wasn't that great, but they improved a lot along down the road, and now liquidity and also their approach of making a transparent market, making it on chain, worked out pretty good for them. Even though that back then everybody was saying it won't work, it can't work. So yeah, that's
What were the initial pain points? You know, you said the experience wasn't great initially. What were the initial pain
I
points?
think it's just some UI UX stuff, some execution stuff that like in the beginning it wasn't very liquid because of course if you started like with this club that they did, that it takes some starting points, and it takes you have this problem like you need users to get liquidity, to get volume, but you also need market makers, and for them to come both to the platform to provide liquidity to make markets. It took a bit of time for the order books to get deeper and to get more liquidity on it. And this is also why some traders faded Hyperliquid in the first few days and first weeks, because there was like not much liquidity. But yeah, I mean now it worked pretty good, and there are many days where Hyperliquid is also really interesting on their spot execution, right? So we have big whales selling thousands of Bitcoin on Hyperliquid, and they do this for one reason. The reason is the liquidity. They get out of those big positions way better than they would on any other centralized entity, right? So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, good.
Is the spot depth better on Hyperliquid than on centralized exchanges? Because I was always wondering why, we have all these whales kind of
Yeah,
using.
it is. It is. Like, liquidity is better, pricing is better. Like you save a lot on fees compared to any other centralized entity. And it's also like a KYC issue. At some point with those centralized entities, you will have problems if you try to unload like thousands of Bitcoin. It won't be like there's no place like Hyperliquid. I can just deposit thousands of Bitcoin and make a limit or like a TVOP sell order out of my position without crashing the price too much, and withdraw the USDC like in really quick manner to any other wallet I want, and I'm done. No KYC, no like explaining why you got the Bitcoin, where you got them, and stuff like that. And yeah, also this is maybe to answer the question. It closes the stuff on transparency. Whales go onto Hyperliquid to unload their Bitcoin and other big positions because they know that the order book is transparent. So market makers see those big orders, they jump in and like make the market, get a good amount of like fees on that, and everybody's happy, right? So that's why this works.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I guess, just to maybe fast forward a bit onto a more kind of contemporary topic. You see all of these, centralized exchanges now trying to spin up perps dexes, you know, potentially trying to either copy Hyperliquid success or to try and uh, keep up with them so that they can maintain market share. Do you think that the development of, let's say, the perps trading industry will be on chain, or do you think there's kind of room for both? Do you think centralized exchanges might just move their liquidity onto their own perps dexes to maybe that's easy for them to deal with some of the regulatory burdens?
The question is, does it really matter? Like, users will use the platform which gives them the best execution, the best fees, the best experience, and right now that's Hyperliquid. And if you ever tried any other exchanges, you know how bad it can be. And I doubt that any of those other players is willing to, like, for them to really compete, they would also need to introduce a lot of transparency to their product, which in itself would kill their other product. Like Binance makes a lot of money because they have their market making strategies which are really not good, to say the least, really extractive. They have their liquidation engines, all that stuff that hurts the user. And for them to really compete with stuff like Hyperliquid, they would basically need to kill their main business and say, okay, we're gonna be transparent now. We're not gonna hunt you and hunt like liquidations and stuff like that. And still, if they did that, I doubt that anybody would believe them, right? So I'm not afraid in that sense for Hyperliquid. And also one other point which is important to mention is that Hyperliquid is way more than just the perp dex that they're building. I think you should see Hyperliquid's perp stacks as one good case study what the layer one Hyperliquid can do. Like it's their biggest case study, but down the road it won't like really matter. Hyperliquids are like the interface, and the perp dex is just one product.
Right. Yeah. So I guess moving your business model from a centralized exchange to like a perps dex model, also kind of like you said, having to be more transparent, removes them of the ability to, kind of manipulate certain things.
Yeah, and I mean that's the main point, how all those centralized entities make their money, right? Not just Binance. I mean, there are so many other exchanges that are making a lot of money from manipulating markets, from uh, crazy wicks, crazy liquidation engines. Like if you ever traded on Maxi, you know how like trades can jump up and down. Stuff like this doesn't happen on Hyperliquid, and this is also like there's no serious trader you will ever talk to who says, "Yeah, I care so much about decentralization or about like on-chain versus off-chain, and that's why I use Hyperliquid." No, traders care about, okay, if I can like get good execution on my trade and do this for good liquidity with like reasonable fees, then you will have a good product. And right now that's Hyperliquid.
Yeah, talking of scam wicks,
Yeah.
in 2017, BitMEX pretty much dominated the industry. Honestly, I think maybe up until 2020, they pretty much dominated the industry because, of course, they were the ones that invented the perp, and those Arthur Hayes coded scam wicks were actually incredible. You'd see like 10% 1 minute wicks just to liquidate the entire side of the order book. And it was fucking hilarious, to be
we
honest.
see this right now to a degree on the pre-markets on Hyperliquid. There was like this one story with XPL where there was one guy who basically just liquidated everybody by throwing, I think, 30 million or something into a long trade on a really illiquid pre-market. But it's funny because back then, or when this happened, everybody was like saying, "Oh, this is the fault of Hyperliquid, and they should give the money back and stuff like that."
Mhm.
But I mean, for starters, it was a pre-market perp on a really volatile asset. So people played stupid games and won stupid prizes, but then they cry if they fuck up, basically. But what was more interesting is that nobody of those people was crying when centralized exchanges do this stuff all the time, also on rather big coins. Like they don't do this on like super small volatile assets, but they also do this on bigger coins, right? So yeah.
What do you think about Plasma?
I think many people overestimated the story. Because like from my perspective, people thought that it was directly supported by Tether, and that's why they bid it up so much. And after a while, people realized that it was just a small check by Tether, like I think not even real money invested from the Tether founder. And also important to understand the reasons why people invest into those different stablecoin chains. Like Tether invested into Plasma, they also invested into Stable, and I think two other like stablecoin chains. And they do this just to get some USDT off of Tron. Right now, they have a lot of like USDT sitting on Tron, which is a risk. So they just throw some money on other stablecoin chains and think, okay, if we can get like 10 billion away from Tron on this new chain, it's a good way to de-risk. So with this information, it's not like the Plasma is the new great stuff. It was like more for them a de-risk perspective. Yeah, that was like my view, and I also heard from people like closer to the founding team that they have been surprised that Plasma ran up this much because, like, yeah, the founders aren't super experienced, and yeah, I mean, we will see what happens, but yeah, that was my.
Yeah, I think it was one of the best performing venture investments on Echo. I know that I'm in Kobe's group on Echo, and I'd actually seen it, and I actually didn't know anything about it at the time. And I remember when the token went live, I just saw my timeline filled with like 300x posts. So that's really all I all I saw. I
Yeah.
haven't used it.
I
I know a
mean,
lot of the Hyperliquid guys like it, or at least Hyperliquid guys who have been trading have been kind of like long and getting hurt on that trade. But yeah, that's about it.
yeah, I think if you like did the VC deal or like the echo round, or if you deposited money into their race, basically, it was a great trade. Like everybody that deposited anything got, I think, 10K airdrop, and many people got way more. So for those it was a great trade. I think the people that then bought on the listing, they got hurt pretty bad. But I mean, it's always the case if you jump into anything, the moment that everybody tweets about it and talks about it, it's probably too late.
Yeah, true. And also buying bags that are up 300x. The
Yeah.
TG is never really a great idea.
Yeah, it's like the imagination of people is wild, right? So to see Plasma launching at, I think, 10 billion TVLs, FTV, sorry, 10 billion FTV or something, and like going up to, I think, peak at 18 or 20 billion. And then the story was like, yeah, it's gonna go to $10 and way higher. Like people always, they see something running up like crazy, and then they go into this wild imagination mode to go crazy on the numbers.
Yeah, so
I think Plasma was interesting because can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Plasma was interesting. I saw a really interesting tweet. The guy was essentially like, he said, I sold when I started seeing people ask where the yield comes from. That's what he said. When people started asking where the yield comes from, he sold, and then it obviously just went down.
Yeah.
But like at least I'd say it was still a pretty successful TGE in the sense that, that was a liquid 2x for anybody to take. So like that's a good TG. I mean, what is it, 000? That
Oh boy, yeah.
the thing was a disaster. So like,
Down only.
and I think it was really, I think it was more of a timing thing than anything else because you had Aster, and then that just primes people to want to catch the next thing, right? And I think that's why Plasma actually, managed to, pull that. It was a 2.5x, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, it's always the timing, right? If you think about it, if Hyperliquid did the TGE maybe 1 month earlier, it wouldn't be up like that. Like they had the Trump win, they had like all the regulation changing, people getting excited about perps, all that stuff happening. So it's a lot on the timing, and also like now with the other like tokens coming with Monad and everything, I'm not sure like there will be so much bidding on Monad or any other like new tokens coming up for that matter. So yeah, we will see about that.
Yeah. Anyway, boys, it's I think we're gonna close out our first little test run podcast. I think it was great. Thanks for hosting, Superman. We've got the recording, so we'll clip it up and we'll start posting some clips. But yeah, thanks a lot, man. I'm gonna head off to bed. It's 1:45 a.m. here. I've got to get up and drive 2 hours basically tomorrow to visit my family. So
All right, sounds good.
Was good.
All right.
First test run. Have a good one.
Yeah, definitely. All
See
right,
you guys.
fellas. Take it easy.